morning. How are you this morning? It is the Drive at 5 with Jeffrey Herron coming to you live from the H2 Show studios here. And we are working on getting some sound effects added. So apologize for the silence there. Didn't want to get a copyright strike for hitting you with something that was a copyrighted material without downloading ahead of time. So, learning as we go. Don't mean to be on my phone, but I am going to pull up my show notes for today so we can get started and get your day started off right. I got a lot to go through. Tried to start right at 5:30. As you can see, I was a little bit late, but that's okay. New camera setup so that you can see the logo on the beginning, and you can see the cool couches we've got in the back there. I was told that I was getting washed out a little bit whenever you saw me on camera. Got the flat bill on today. It's Flat Bill Friday. That's not an official holiday, but I will tell you what the national day is here in just a moment. But let's get started on the show. So, again, H2 Show. I'm one half, Jeffrey Herron. The other half is Dr. Brent Harris. He'll be on with me either later this week or next week. We're going to have our first interview. Stay tuned for who the guest is going to be. You're going to be very excited. It's going to be an awesome event for us. We're still here at the studio above the historic Adamson Square in downtown Carrollton. Beautiful place. Awesome place to be, even at 5:30 in the morning when I'd rather be in bed asleep. But now I get to be with you lovely people. I appreciate all the views, all the interactions, and thank you for coming back and showing back up. I do have the chat up here. I doubt I'm going to get a lot of chats at 5:30 in the morning, but if somebody wants to show us some love, I'd love to see it. Let's kick it off. So today is Friday, January 24th. It's the year of our Lord 2025, and we are coming to you from Earth. We're not on Mars yet. Sorry, Elon hasn't figured that out. And January 24th is National Peanut Butter Day. How awesome is that? So I don't know if you know this, but peanut butter's been around since about 1000 BC. The Incas and the Aztecs used to make peanut butter. It looked a little bit more like paste. And it really didn't get popular until the early 20th century. And the reason is that for a long time, peanuts were considered just food for your animals. They weren't considered a food that was good for human consumption. And surprisingly, and I'm going to bet that they did not anticipate this, but I'm going to read his name because I'll get it wrong if I don't. Marcellus Gilmore Edson first patented peanut butter in 1884. He probably didn't realize that it would become a taste sensation that would sweep the nation and that we would have National Peanut Butter Day. So whether you like it chunky or smooth, put down the cell phone, pick up the spreading knife, and go ahead and enjoy some peanut butter today. If you're not allergic, if you are allergic, use your alternative. I know my daughter is allergic to peanuts, so almond butter, soy butter, those things are what she likes to use. So, if you're allergic, obviously, don't eat peanut butter, but it is National Peanut Butter Day, which is an exciting day. So until I can get some sound effects, we'll just have to have these hard transitions, and I'll try to make them a little bit more smooth. This day in history, in 1848, James W. Marshall discovered gold at Sutter's Mill in California. This is what set off the California Gold Rush, which is really why the San Francisco 49ers are the 49ers, is because in 1849, that's when the gold rush was really in full swing. In 1935, the Kruger Brewing Company sold the first canned beer, Kruger's Cream Ale. So to all you beer drinkers out there, you can thank them for the innovation of a canned beer. In 1965, this one's kind of a sad one. Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, died in London at the age of 90. Glad he got 90 great years out of it. Interesting figure there, Winston Churchill. Great wartime leader for Britain there, United Kingdom. And in 1984, the Apple computer began selling the Macintosh. That was the first commercially successful personal computer with a mouse and a graphical user interface. I remember the first computer we ever had having to do the C:// and going through the DOS screen. Kind of crazy to think back to that, to what we have now, where we can touch the screen. And I'm sitting here working on what is essentially the most powerful personal computer that would have ever existed in my cell phone. So kind of wild. Back then, of course, not now, because I'm always a couple of years behind. And then in 2003, Tom Ridge who was the former Pennsylvania governor, he became the first secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, probably because the Department of Homeland Security didn't exist until around about that time. A little more interesting news. The first Boy Scout troop was organized in England in 1908. And this one's a little bit more international news. I have some friends from Brazil, so I thought this was interesting. That's why I left it in here. And I'm going to have to read that. The Mali Revolt took place in Brazil in 1835. It was a slave rebellion that helped end slavery in Brazil. So awesome event in time. Obviously ended a travesty there. So awesome. Famous birthdays for the day. Yesterday it was, Tiffany Amber Thiessen Tiffany Thiessen, as she likes to go by now, and Mariska Haggerty. But today we have some singers on the list. Ray Stevens, you call him the Streak. Neil Diamond, they both share a birthday. Some actresses who are famous, and some that were instrumental in starting our childhood here. If you're around about my age, Tatiana Ali, who starred as Ashley in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and she was recently in The Holiday Proposal. So very popular one around the holidays. My wife loves to watch Christmas movies all throughout the Christmas season. There's a Christmas movie either on her phone or on the TV, and my daughter has gotten into the love as well. They can be the worst example of a HGTV, or I'm sorry, not HGTV. Man, it escapes me now. Hallmark Network Christmas movie, but it can keep her interest. So, hey, whatever gets you into the holiday spirit. Misha Barton from the OC. She had a birthday today, and I didn't know this, but she was actually in The Sixth Sense as well when she was younger. And then on the actor front, more famous birthdays. I'm going to throw that down. I'll have to get that in a second. Ed Helms, Andy from The Office. He's from Cornell. I'm just kidding, but he did go to Cornell in the show. Loved to sing a cappella there. And then Shaggy. So Shaggy's birthday, Matthew Lillard also has a birthday. He shares a birthday with Ed Helms. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab my phone so I can get my show notes. And we're back like we never left. And there we go. Who do I got here? Hold on 1 second. I got a good morning from Arian. Thank you, Arian. I appreciate you being up this morning. I know it's early, and you're probably trying to get some kiddos off to school. So thank you for joining us this morning. All right. Yep, Matthew Lillard. Hello, Shaggy. This one's a new one. I'm not, I don't know Justin Boladini other than from the It Ends With Us controversy that's going on between him and Blake Lively. I have no idea how to feel about that whole situation. Up until now, I thought Blake Lively was, and Ryan Reynolds were just the perfect little couple, but now not really sure. A lot of stuff going back and forth. So very weird situation there. In a follow-up to the Great Wide World of Sports that we talked about yesterday, Mark Andrews, who we mentioned, had a pretty rough week last week, put out an Instagram post in response to it. So I wanted to kind of read through that a little bit. So on his Instagram post, he said, "It is impossible to adequately express how I feel. I'm absolutely gutted by what happened on Sunday. I'm devastated for my teammates, my coaches, and Ravens fan. I pour every ounce of my being into playing at the highest level possible because I love my team and I love the game of football like nothing else. That's why it's taken me until now to collect my thoughts and address this publicly. Even though the shock and disappointment are unlike anything I've felt before, I refuse to let the situation define me. I promise that this adversity will make me stronger and fuel us as we move forward. I thank everyone who has shown me and our team genuine support through these past several days, despite the negativity I've seen heartfelt love and encouragement, including from those who have generously donated to the Breakthrough T1D organization. Just a second, I'm going to find the last part of this. Even though the shot, sorry. Yeah, here it is. Even when the moment seems darkest, perspective can reveal that there's still a lot of light in this world. I'm going to do my part to bounce back and contribute to it. God bless. So I think what a well-adjusted way for somebody to attack adversity. And I think we can all benefit from looking at Mark Andrews and saying, we've all gone through some things. And I want to say that this isn't even the hardest thing that Mark Andrews faces. As you can tell there, he has type 1 diabetes. And I think that is a big struggle for a lot of people. That's the juvenile form of diabetes, or they call it juvenile diabetes because you're genetically born with it. I know some friends that have diabetes, and it is a rough situation. I know that insulin has solved a lot of that problem, and the fact that we have access to it is huge, right? It used to be that children would end up in these asylums, for lack of a better term, and they would end up stuck there, and they'd be lethargic, and they just live with what amounted to high blood sugar, or being DKA, I think it's diabetic ketoacidosis, until they died, until insulin was discovered. So that was an amazing thing. Now we have things like insulin pumps, the kind of blood-free checks where we have monitors that are able to be placed on individuals so that they don't have to go through the sticks every day. And it's amazing that Mark Andrews uses his platform to ultimately get donations. And I saw that the GoFundMe that was targeted for, I think, $5,000 for his charity is over $40,000. So what a way to take something that could have been the most negative time in his life to turn it into a positive. So great job, Mark. And I think I speak for everybody, that we can see your character through what you're doing here, at least your public character. I don't know you personally, but from what you've said publicly, what it seems you've done publicly, and from the comments from all of his teammates, he's a great individual that we can all kind of aspire to look up to, and one of those athletes that, hey, you can say, I'd like to be like that person, especially when facing adversity. So amazing thing from Mark there. In less dramatic news, or maybe it's more dramatic but maybe less serious, Joe Mixon got fined $26,000 for something he didn't even say. So TJ Houshmandzadeh made a comment on, I think it was on Twitter, X, however we're saying that these days. And in that comment, he basically said, hey, Kansas City's getting all the calls. This stuff's rigged. Like, what is going on? And Joe Mixon didn't say that, got a fine, then tweeted about that and got another fine. So very interesting that he faced down 2 fines for something that started off with something he didn't say. So wild world. The NFL going a little crazy on the fines, likes to punish people, and will not publicly admit that they may have a refereeing problem based on, the feedback from the public. So interesting stuff there. Some things are starting to rev up in the baseball world. There's been a handful of signings. I'll hit on the local folks. I know Atlanta, it's been a tough time in Atlanta, right? 2 years ago, we had the best record in baseball, kind of flame out in the playoffs early. Ran into a Phillies team that really was just hot at that time. I had the misfortune of having to watch that game in the D.C. area, so being around a bunch of Phillies fans when we, got put out of the playoffs, which was awful. And watched it with one of my good friends who's also a Mets fan. Made it doubly awful, but that's okay. Came back last year, really had a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries, a lot of things they had to overcome. Made the playoffs, which was awesome, even though it took to the last day to make it. But again, faced a really tough team, and came into the year with a lot of questions. That said, did sign Profar yesterday. So they agreed to a $42 million contract, and he was a revelation, obviously, for the Padres, who actually put us out. I guess, there's kind of some interesting irony there. And I always think back to the Morgan Wallen song about getting put out by the damn Padres. In other news, it seems like the Los Angeles Dodgers have enough money to buy a small country, or at least be the GDP of, you know, 8 or 10 different countries. I think they'd be like 161st if you counted their entire payroll of like $1.3 billion, $1.8 billion. They just continue to sign everybody, and the rich just get richer. I'm going to go through a few of what they've signed in the past 411 days. So started with Shohei Ohtani with $700 million contract. They traded for Tyler Glasnow. He's at a $136 million contract. And then they got the kind of prize of the offseason, a couple of prizes of the offseason. Blake Snell, they signed the two-time Cy Young winner. And then they signed another young up-and-coming pitcher out of Japan, similar to Shohei Ohtani. So won the bidding war there with the Padres, and ultimately his name's Sasaki. So he will join the already loaded, pitching staff there. So enough about sports. We'll move on for a little bit. Oh, I did need to make a correction. So the Cooper Kupp trade to Detroit, that is speculated and reported, but not confirmed. So I went through my sources yesterday, ultimately looked over at ESPN to see if I could confirm it. It was not confirmed. They are the leading favorite, I think, betting favorite to sign Cooper Kupp, but they have not signed him yet. So apologies to you Detroit folks who got your hopes up yesterday. Didn't happen. All right, moving on from sports. The massive wildfires continue. The Hughes fire has swelled in size north of Los Angeles. There's a rain in the forecast for Saturday through Monday, so let's all pray that rain puts some of that out and helps them get containment. Really, the Santa Ana winds continue to be the biggest problem. The Hughes fire is now 50 miles west or north of Los Angeles, grew to 10,176 acres since igniting on Wednesday. So just as they were starting to get some of them under control, they're really having to battle some new fires that due to the conditions, right? The Santa Ana winds are blowing upwards of 50 miles per hour, and it's really, really dry. Humidity levels are around 10%. So they have 14% containment. Let's just continue to pray for California that they get that under control. That's never a good thing when you have to face a natural disaster. And as I said yesterday, there's some interesting things going on in the world of insurance and how those are going to be covered, how they're going to get relief. And let's just pray that our leaders can figure that out, and for those that are on the ground. Looking through some just national news, Pete Hegseth is facing an uphill battle for getting confirmation. There's all kinds of opinions out there about him. I'm not going to get too much into politics, but what I'll say is that's going to be a kind of the story or the flavor of the month, I think, with a lot of these appointments. It sounds like Trump has some appointments that don't go with the flow, and the establishment part of the government really doesn't appreciate those new kind of shake 'em up, disruptive candidates coming in. But hey, the majority voted for the guy, and we'll just hope for the best. And for those that don't like him, let's pray that he does the right things and good things happen. For those that do, let's hope again that the right things happen in our federal government. So I'm pulling for the people. I'm pulling for you guys and for the folks out there in the Facebook world, the YouTube world, anywhere this reaches. I'm pulling for you. I look out for the little guy, the little gals, and everybody in between. Right? We want to be looking out for your success. That's what it's about here at the H2 Show. That's why we're doing this. I want to keep people informed, let people know about what's going on in the world, but also kind of be a place where we can just share our stories. It's going to hit on the Oscars, but I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch a lot of the movies this year. The things that are nominated, I need to get into the Dune franchise. I haven't really gotten into it. I know that a lot of people love it, and if you do, please express your your love down in the comments. If you have an opinion on the Oscars, let me know. Excuse me. I have not been a huge fan of award shows lately. I think I've watched a couple, but really linear TV has fallen off for me outside of sports. Um, Saw this cool article. Wanted to bring it up. It'd be one I'd love to talk to Dr. Brent about. It's from Scientific America, so very interesting article. I started subscribing to News Plus. You don't have to. I don't recommend that you do necessarily. I'm still finding it difficult to kind of curate my news through Apple, but it's called A Sweet Surprise, and it says that the World War II sugar rationing actually boosted the kids' health that went through that decades later. So it's kind of interesting that the things we're finding out about sugar. So it seems that the less refined sugars you're exposed to early as a kid, the better off you'll be long term. So it says infants conceived in the years ended uh, before sugar rationing ended had a 35% lower risk of diabetes, 20% lower risk of hypertension in their 50s and 60s compared with those conceived after. So they called them ration kids, which I think is kind of a funny way to say it. But if if you can, maybe take some of that as a recommendation to lessen refined sugar in the diets of your children. And I don't know that it necessarily is just the sugar rationing. Maybe it led to healthier lifestyle long term. There seems to be that some addictive properties to sugar. So take that for what it's worth. It's an interesting article. You might want to go out there and read in Scientific America. Looking at the college football playoff ratings, I said we were done with sports, but what I did want to talk about is the 12-team playoff and how the average viewership fared this year. So looking at the championship, they averaged 22.1 million viewers. That's the third lowest since 2014. What really I think is driving that they think is driving that is not only the lack of attention to linear TV, but also the new pay to play distribution model. So a lot of times with these games going to ESPN Plus or ESPN, if you don't have that channel, then obviously that can be impactful to the viewership. So, when it's on broadcast television, makes it a little bit easier. So they believe that next year, because the viewer will be able to watch the show or watch the game on ABC, which is a broadcast channel, that they'll see viewership kind of come back up. Also, the scheduling. So the push of that being on MLK Day, obviously a lot that became a federal holiday not too long ago, and a lot of folks take off and go do things on that day, whether that be celebration. There's folks participate in the parades. Some people go and celebrate in other ways, but also some people just use it as an extra vacation day. And so with that travel, not everybody gets back to in front of a TV screen when they are ready to watch the show. Looking at the weather, despite this kind of cold snap, we've got an upcoming a little bit better weather over the weekend. Should get the temperatures into the 60s. Another one I looked up I thought was interesting was Who Killed JFK. It was another article that was out there on Apple News. I'll just too long didn't read it for you. So if I ever say TLDR, that's what I mean. Not sure everybody's familiar with that term. I wasn't for the longest time. The net sum of this article was, hey, you don't want to believe it, but it was Lee Harvey Oswald, and it was, the single bullet fired. So, or the single shooter. So, I don't know if I put the trust in that article, and he called me out because the things that he said why people don't want to believe that is because obviously Lee Harvey Oswald died not soon after the assassination, and therefore wasn't able to really tell his story. He obviously denied that he killed JFK, and that he was claimed that he was a patsy. And then, of course, the government commissioned the study on that or investigation, and then refused to release some of the documents. So, hey, it looks like we got one more comment. Hold on one second. Oh, it's my buddy Nina. What's up, Nina? I hope y'all thawed out down there in Houston. I know it was kind of surprising to get so much snow. Like we've been posting on the podcast or on the Facebook page, these pictures of a sunrise with snow right next to sand is just a beautiful thing. And somebody made the joke that we didn't have snow on the beach when it was the Gulf of Mexico. Now that it's the Gulf of America, we're getting snow. You can take that good, bad, or indifferent. I just thought it was a funny meme that somebody posted. A heads up to those of you that have the iPhone 16 and above. I think it's a 16. Apple Intelligence. So Apple Intelligence is becoming a bigger part of what they're doing at Apple. And with iOS 18.3, they're going to make it where you have to opt out, I believe. So it's an automatically enabled Apple Intelligence on your iPhone. It's not doing something nefarious that I can tell. This article was just saying, hey, it's getting bigger. So it's in terms of space it takes up on your phone. It was supposed to be 4 gigabytes of storage originally, and now it's going to be 7 gigabytes. So if that's not something you want, or if you don't want to have to delete some old pictures and cull through and make space, you may end up having to pay for extra space, through the iCloud storage, or you may end up wanting to opt out of having Apple Intelligence on your phone. Okay, so let's take a moment. Let's wind down. Hold please for just 1 second. Let me get to this spot in my notes. We have a little joke of the day. So, what did one hat say to the other? Nobody? Y'all aren't going to respond? Just kidding. It said, "You wait here. I'll go on ahead." Anyway, figured I'd give y'all the joke of the day. The joke of the day is me. And now we go on to stocks and some crypto news. So looking at the stocks, I'm going to pull up my Robinhood account. We're going to check it live and see what the futures are doing, if it'll recognize my Face ID. So let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been trading over the last month. I believe it was down as low as 90-ish. So somewhere between the 89 and 110 range on the high end. Right now, it's still trading in this channel around 106. I think it's cooled off after some of that crazy news in the beginning of the week that we talked about. Not that it's taken any kind of big step down, but I don't think that was just a rocket ship event, from what I can tell. Looking at the S&P, over the last week, it's up 2.71. I'm seeing similar things out of the Triple Q and the Dow Jones Industrial Average, somewhere between 2.9 and 3, depending on which one we're looking at. So it seems like there's some positivity in the market at the moment. Obviously, with the change in president, that tends to happen, that either there's good news or bad news. We may see positive or negative changes there. But we'll see if that holds, and we'll see if those underlying market trends turn and we see that positivity continue. Let me check what Nina said. Hey, we got Dr. Harris in the chat. He is saying he still thinks of crypto as a speculative scam. And I think there's some countervailing opinions out there. I'd love to hear them jump into the chat and talk about it. But I do agree there are some scammy feelings about some crypto. Obviously, Doge is a meme coin and has never advertised itself as anything but. But there are others that have tried to tell you that it was an investment, and was it really? I don't know. I know that I believe Logan Paul got into a little bit of a controversy with CoffeeZilla. I won't get into it because Logan Paul's got lawyers that I don't want to face down. But they had a big back and forth about Crypto Zoo, which was a game that Logan started, and something about hatching eggs and everything else. I know there's probably somebody out there that knows better about that than me, so I'll let them talk through it. But yeah, thanks, Brent, for jumping in the chat. In local news, Carrollton High School celebrated a successful Cyber Patriot season with a state championship victory. And this was the JROTC's third consecutive title. And they will compete today in the national competition at virtually at Carrollton High School. So that's awesome. So what is Cyber Patriot? It's an educational program created by the Air and Space Force Association and was established to inspire K through 12 students to pursue careers in cybersecurity or other science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, also called STEM disciplines, that are critical to the nation's future. At the core of the program, it is the National Youth Cyber Defense Competition, the nation's largest cyber defense competition that puts high school students in charge of securing virtual networks. The CHS Cyber Patriot program comprises 3 teams, with the JROTC team winning first place in the platinum tier to secure the state title. They're coached by CHS teacher Robbie Blakemore. Shout out to Robbie and the team. Great job. The JROTC team members include Tyler Alexander, Copariti, Austin Ennis, Kania Galvez Hernandez, and Alexa Gibbs. These participants are members of the school's Air Force JROTC program. So amazing job, y'all. It is to be celebrated that our students are taking on these amazing things that are they're very influential in our future, right? Our kids are our future. So great job. Congratulations. Amazing work happening there at Carrollton High School. I've got a couple of more things I wanted to mention. If I can pull the article back up, I got to find it here. Apologize for taking your time for my searching, but want you to have the best information you can. Here we go. There it is. Oh, open enrollment. It's now open at Carrollton High School. So also, the CHS students won the Congressional App Challenge. So for the 7th year in a row, Carrollton High School has won the Congressional App Challenge, a nationwide initiative to promote the importance of computer science. This year, students created an AI-driven application that provides self-advocacy tools for students with disabilities. And the team will present the app to Congress in Washington, D.C. at the annual #House of Code Festival during spring break. How amazing is that? So big shout out there too. Amazing job by the computer science students over there. I'm trying to find they collaborated with the special education teacher, Dr. Josh Cornell, and junior Omar De Jesus, and sophomore Wade Ballard, and freshman Eleni Doppel created their app called Trojan Advocate to serve as a tool for students with disabilities who often struggle to advocate for themselves in higher education and employment settings. Computer science teacher Robbie Blakemore, good job, Robbie. You're really having a great year. And his students view technology as a means to address and overcome real-life concerns. After Dr. Crandell shared this need, the Congressional App Challenge team rose to the occasion. Another one. Amazing job there. We've got just some great young folks in our community. And not to be outdone, Central had some amazing things happen over on their side of the world. The Central High School was awarded the Bright Ideas grants from Carroll EMC. Let's see. Central High School was awarded 4 Carroll EMC Bright Ideas grants for use in teacher classrooms. Miss Jane Lyons grant funds will be used to purchase 6 different labs that will allow students to evaluate evidence similar to what can be found at an actual crime scene. The labs include ballistics labs, DNA lab, a burglary lab, and crime scene where students must identify the guilty party. Um, Mr. Lee Burson wrote his Bright Ideas grant request to begin building a collection of voluntary reading books that heritage Spanish speaking students can use, especially in a literacy circle unit where students join with others to read the same title that interests them. I mean, there's just so much amazing stuff going on. Central High School guidance counselor Corrine Heidman, Kim Avester, and Ria Kerr wrote their grant request to provide students with the opportunity to engage with peers in a positive way, to learn to manage stressors, and to create visuals that exemplify positive school culture through development of self-awareness and self-advocacy. Can I just say, that one in particular hits me hard. When I was a kid, it was really tough, and I think we all experience this, to advocate for yourself, but also to learn how to deal with things that you thought were the end of the world. Right? Somebody didn't like you. You thought it was the end of the world. It was over. Like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Nobody likes me. Everybody loves me. Guess I'll go eat worms. It was just everything. Everybody hates me, I guess. But it was just like everything was the end of the world. I think it's so good that we're addressing that, to help find it early so that people can find the confidence in who they are. So much about what you do in your future is about how you feel about yourself, how you think about yourself, and where you find your confidence. And I think we can talk about other ways to find your confidence, but so much of it occurs at school because we're there for so much time. So amazing work. Miss Brandy Pearson wrote her grant request for the purchase of Super Talkers, a unique speech device that has various overlays that can be used to assist students who are unable to express themselves through voice communication. Again, just this theme of self-advocacy, of creating tools for people to be able to advocate for themselves. Because they're not always going to have somebody there to be their advocate. And it's amazing what we can do with technology to create that self-advocacy. So just amazing job. Central High School principal, Ms. Kelly Edwards, stated, couldn't be more proud of our teachers and the effort they put into bringing a higher level of instruction to our students. Carroll EMC has supported grant applications from schools across Carroll County for countless years, and their continued support gives our students more opportunities both inside and outside the classroom. Again, another little shout out to our local folks and just the amazing things they're doing in our community. Looking through some things that the great city menu and my good friend Jonathan Dockery and his team over there uh, put out. I just wanted to talk about some new things that might be opening soon, and kind of go through that. I'm happy to report that Big Chick will be reopening in 2025. That's a big one for me. I love a little two piece dark with a sweet tea. So can't wait for them to be back open and running. Um, let's see. Brown Chicken Brown Cow's now open. The Buffalo Wild Wings is now hiring. It sounds like there may be an executive order on no tax on tips. So, hey, if you're looking for a little extra money or something else to do and not have to pay taxes on it, maybe it can cover for that the problems that might come out of that homestead exemption. Just kidding, but maybe not really. But go and working at Buffalo Wild Wings. There sounds like they're now hiring. Carrollton Flats commercial over on Central High Road. There's the Charred Oak Kitchen and Bar. There's another Chick-fil-A opening, which is awesome because it means it won't be quite as busy. Insomnia Cookies. Maybe we'll do a live review of some Insomnia Cookies at some point. Now open. Let's see. I was trying to look at all the other things to see what's open. I do see the Whataburger is on hold here in Carrollton. Wish that one would happen. I know the Heirloom store was slated to open, I think, in the mansion space over there. So a lot of great things happening in Carrollton. Won't hit on everything everywhere else, but just wanted to kind of give a shout out to, if you're not subscribed to the city menu or looking at the city menu, they do great work. And maybe one day Jonathan can come on and speak with us on the podcast. All right, let's see. I got one more comment. Hold on. Agreed, Arian. Thank you for jumping in the comments. It really is tough, and I tell my daughter all the time that she does gymnastics. Gymnastics is what you do. It's not who you are. Go out there, be yourself, and if you're good at it, which she is, um, maybe she'll be Olympic level. Maybe she won't. Doesn't really matter. The key is to have fun, but also build confidence that you can do hard things. So when you face something tough, that you can overcome it. Like we said earlier with Mark Andrews, I think that was a beautiful statement he made there. And Lamar Jackson during the game, right after he fumbled the football or missed the 2-point conversion or whatever it was, he said, "It's all of us." So what a leader there. I didn't think much of Lamar other than him being an MVP candidate because I hadn't heard him speak much, but hearing him say that really hit me hard because that's a teammate, and a leader. Great job there. So we're at the 45-minute mark. It looks like here. I like to keep these at under an hour. A lot of great things happening in Carrollton. Yesterday there was a working session with the mayor and the city council. It looked like from starting at 9 a.m. they had a lot of things to talk about. There's some improvements they were voting on, some budget things they were voting on. And I think annually now they review the food truck permits in this January meeting. They'll post, the summary of that meeting in the next 48 hours from yesterday. So we may talk about that on Monday, see if there's anything interesting in the notes from that meeting. We do want to keep you informed about what the city council's doing. We do want you to have a voice here. I call that the kind of the community corner or community check-in. We want to do that every so often, so we'll work on that. But I do want to leave you with a positive message. As I told you yesterday, and I'll tell you every day, the H2 Show cares about you. This is really, the Drive at 5 is really about an opportunity for us to just talk to you, start your morning out with a little bit of news, but really end it on a positive note. And whether you're a believer or not, I hope you can get some encouragement out of the verse of the day today, because I'd like to share it with you from the Bible app. Just know, whether you are or aren't, still love you and want you to take what you can from this in a positive way. So it's from 1 Chronicles 29:11. I have it on ESV, so apologize if that's not the version you like, but that's the one I'm going to read from. Yours, O Lord, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the victory and the majesty. For all that is in heaven and in the earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head above all. So that is really an acknowledgement that there is a higher power. And with that, I'll be praying and thinking about all of you. If you have anything that you need or some needs that are on your heart, I'll be glad to take those in the comments too and be thinking about you and praying about you and your family. We want what's best for you. We want you to have a great, amazing 2025 and beyond. I'm hoping that these words of encouragement can build you up. If you can't find confidence in anything, find confidence in the fact that you put one more foot in front of the other. You woke up this morning, which means you got a chance to be successful. And I want to check one more thing just to make sure. Okay. All right. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything in the comments. We love you. We thank you for joining us today. This has been The Drive at 5. I've been Jeffrey. We're in the H2 Show studios. We'll be back with you at lunch to talk about why taking a break is important. And maybe we'll have a peanut butter sandwich for National Peanut Butter Day. Take care, y'all. Have a great day.